Well, welcome back to the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus. John Howard, Jake Garriani, and a special guest in studio with us today, Stephen Woods from Ben & Woods. The final quarter on CBS 8 Plus gets rolling right now.
The final quarter begins right now.
The legendary, and yes, I use that word on purpose, the legendary Stephen Woods from 97.3 of Ben & Woods here in studio at CBS 8 with us. Woodsy, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure, guys. I feel a little bit dirty, but it's fine. You know, it's
what, doing TV?
Well, that and, you know,
his coworker,
the Ben thing. So I feel a little bit dirty, but not dirty. I mean, I feel great.
Not dirty enough is the key.
Right, not dirty enough.
Not dirty enough. Yeah. We also need to thank Ben Higgins for,
Have
you know, just being a part of this in a sense and letting him come over to CBS 8. So one of the main reasons.
Who's Ben Higgins?
That's
it's an age-old question.
Sorry, Ben.
Sorry, but I'm just going to keep plugging Ben & Woods over and over so he feels that it was adequate, you know, to have Woodsy come on here. But one of the reasons I reached out to you, Woodsy, to come on here to CBS 8 Plus and CBS 8 was because your Irish, baby, are playing in the College Football Championship. First of all, just how do you feel about them being in it? Did you ever see this coming, and how you feeling about Monday, man?
No, I don't want to talk about it at all. Not even a little bit at this point. I am such a nervous wreck. No, I never thought that they would get here. But, you know, the good thing about being a Notre Dame fan, at least one like me, what I've told myself every year since 1988 is, let's go in, we'll get our 9-10 wins, we'll be happy with what we get. And I really resigned myself to the fact that that was it. I'd probably seen my last national championship with the way that college football is. And it was a special night. I was 13. My dad let me stay up late. We watched the Fiesta Bowl, watched Tony Rice beat West Virginia. One of the most special nights of my life, and I'll never forget it. So I was happy. I had my moment. And boy, to be knocking on the door again. I mean, I knew we weren't beating Alabama. I had a ticket to that game. I told my dad, I'm not flying to Miami to get waxed. So this one feels a little different. So I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck about it.
No Manti Te'o out there this
time.
Right,
no Manti Te'o this
the
year.
Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
John, how do you feel about this Ohio State-Notre Dame matchup?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Notre Dame's about an 8.5-point dog in the game. So everyone's picking Ohio State. I think Ohio State has maybe better personnel, but I think Notre Dame is playing better as a team. And I think defensively, if they can continue playing as strong as they have been defensively, they might give Ohio State problems. And if they get a couple of turnovers or two, I think Notre Dame will be right in there. Very well coached team.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say this to you, Woods, before we got on camera because I wanted a true reaction. But I need somebody to convince me that Notre Dame stands any chance in this ballgame because Ohio State is a freaking unit, man. They've been running people ragged since the Michigan game. I mean, do the Golden Domers stand a chance? Like, genuinely, how do you feel? Are they going to be in this thing?
I mean,
that's a slow answer.
Listen, I'm wired to say absolutely not. We're losing by 30. It's going to be another embarrassing blowout against the Irish in a huge game. But, man, these last few games have really convinced me that, yeah, they absolutely have a chance. And, look, Riley Leonard's not going to set the world on fire with his arm, but he can do it with his legs. Their defense doesn't get, in my opinion, enough credit for how tough they are. This is a tough football team with, by the way, SEC speed, finally. Yeah. Like, no joke. The speed that they have, the job that Marcus Freeman's done, that Al Golden's done, their defense is nasty. They're mean. And, yeah, they're kids at the end of the day. Like, Will Howard's capable of throwing an interception or two. I've seen it. You know, I've seen it happen. So
even with a last name like Howard?
Yeah, even with a last name like Howard.
That means he throws way more picks, actually. Let's be honest.
So look, I don't even want to watch. I really don't even want to watch. I just want somebody to tell me the score. Games like this are not fun to watch if you're a big fan like I am.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I think I've heard you say on radio before, you will turn away. Will you literally not watch this Notre Dame game?
No, so I'll be at fantasy camp for the Padres on Monday. I'll be with Ben and Paul. They want to watch me watch it because they're sick and twisted
good
people.
Friends right there.
Yeah, they want to watch me watch it. But I'm telling you, the game against Penn State, When I say that I could hear my heart beating, I could literally hear it, and my hands were shaking when Mitch Jeter lined up to kick that field goal. It was I got emotional after because I was thinking about my dad and what that university means to me. I couldn't get in. I went to Holy Cross right across the street. I went to so many games. I worked at a Notre Dame bar. It's been in my family forever. So I could hear my heart beating, though, and I said, this isn't fun, nor is it healthy in any way.
Well, look, here it is. There's the matchup Monday night. Where will you be for this? No, you just mentioned that. I mean, like mentally, where will you be for this? But you'll be all right. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Monday night. For the sake of Woods, when they win a national championship, Peoria, the bars out there are going to be torn up, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Not by me. I got to get up at like 4 in the morning to go work and play baseball. I'm pretty diligent about that. Drinking during this game is the worst idea for me of all time. So I'm gonna watch it with Ben and Paul. Let them make fun of me. Ben will be very happy if the Irish lose. But I
Why
really
would
hope.
Ben be happy?
He doesn't like when I have any joy
in
at
life,
all.
period?
Just no joy.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
His family grew up USC fans, and so they're not going to root for the Irish. He told me yesterday he would, and I said, no, thank you. I don't want your charity. So.
And not to change topics, but on the topic of being out in Peoria and Padres fantasy camp, I had the pleasure of enjoying and participating in fantasy camp a couple years ago. Briefly, yes.
I remember.
Yeah, explain why.
Tore a knee ligament on the first swing of camp, but I did come back and play, and I had one showdown with Mr. Woods here.
How'd we do?
Do we start with a 2-1 count? Is that one?
I think it was it 1-1?
Maybe it was. You start with a 1-1 count. I drew a walk on 3 pitches. I don't think it was 3 pitches.
That's not surprising at all.
Can we hit the zone, man?
No. The answer is no.
Pump them in there.
I did. I was so striving to get a hit in that at bat. I probably swung and missed once or fouled one off, but drew a walk against.
Yeah,
Woodson.
I mean, I walk or hit everybody out there. So I don't know why they keep calling on me every year, but I don't want to pitch. I just want to play first base and hit, and that's all I want to do. But they always make me pitch, and I guess I'm happy to be there. I love going there, but I was so bummed for you when I saw. I was like, you're kind of a cautionary tale. So this was probably a bad move being this close to you the day before camp, but that's where I'm headed.
Well, before John tears his next ACL, we got to talk about some NFL action we got going on this weekend, from the college ranks to the National Football League. Let's go ahead and throw up the NFL postseason bracket. Here you go: Commanders, Lions, Rams, Eagles, Ravens, Bills, Texans, Chiefs. Woods, I know you guys picked this on 97.3.
Yep.
Why don't you run us through who you like in these games real quick?
You know, it's funny. We did it this morning. We were talking about who we liked, and if you're incorporating the spreads, I really like some of the underdogs. Yeah. I do a lot. I mean, because there's some big numbers there. But I think if I had to handicap it, for whatever reason, my gut is telling me stupidly, go with the Texans and the points. The Chiefs have not. I mean, I know they have a lot of wins. They haven't been the most impressive team to me, especially offensively this year. Mm-hmm. They'll probably find a way, but I'm rolling with Houston. The Ravens-Bills, I said it on our show, I don't want there to be a loser of this game. I really like both of these teams. I like watching both of them play. Whoever wins, I'm going to be excited because I love watching them play. I went with the Ravens today. Don't know why, just kind of a gut feeling there. I also went with the Commanders, too. I'm taking a lot of dogs here. And I went with the Eagles, kind of a chalky pick there.
Johnny boy, what you got?
Well, I pretty much everything that Woody said, although I like the Lions. I think the Lions have been playing for this since last year, and I think maybe they get over the hump and get into the Super Bowl. And to think about the Detroit Lions and how long they've been around and have never been to that game, that's just hard to believe. Getting back to the Bills game, and the Ravens, boy, you'd love to see either one of those teams play the Chiefs in the next round.
Yeah.
But I think Lions and Eagles in the NFC would be a heck of a matchup. I don't know that I'm rooting against the Texans, but I think the Texans provide a little drier matchup going further down the road. But, it should be a pretty good weekend of games.
I'm stubborn and stupid. Way back when we did our first preseason show, I picked the Texans and Lions to make the Super Bowl.
Oh, you did?
And just for pure spite, I'm sticking with it.
Roll.
Even though the Texans have absolutely no chance, but I like the Bills. I like the Texans, I guess. I don't, but the Chiefs are going to win that game. But I'm going to stick with them. Lions, and then I'm also going to go with the Eagles in that one. Woods, have we convinced you to become an employee of CBS 8 yet? How long do we need you on air before you leave Ben Higgins in 97?
I could never do TV. I hate
Really?
this. I hate it. I'm staring
Just
at
make
myself
him so
in the
uncomfortable.
screen. I'm like, I don't know what to do with any of my face. I don't know how you guys do
I'm not
this.
sure what to do with my hands, Ricky.
Nobody gave me any makeup at all. I didn't get any touch-ups, so I look like a ghoul. So I don't know. I like
think
the
you're-
radio.
Okay.
You're looking good compared to the two of us.
I don't know
on
where to
screen next
look.
you.
Am I supposed to look here?
See,
or
wait,
here?
That's good.
See
That's
this? Let me come over to your box.
There
See
you
this
go.
camera right here? Right there. There
Yeah,
you
but
go, baby.
But it's not natural for me to have a conversation with
No,
somebody and
no.
stare
No,
directly into
It's
the camera.
impossible.
It's
Don't
not.
you? Yeah, it's terrible.
No,
That's
I
a
hate
horrible
this.
job.
I hate it. I hate every minute of it.
Well, okay, great. So good to know you'll be here next week for us on this show. Woods, you guys talk more Padres than anybody in this town. It's what you guys do. It's what you guys are great at. You, Ben, and Paulie, who do an amazing job. Nothing but respect for you
Thank
guys,
you.
first of all.
You said the same thing to the other radio guys.
Oh, I'm
last
sure he
week.
did.
Never had another radio person on. Never had another radio person
Good.
on.
And never will again.
I'm loyal. Never will again. Your outlook of this offseason obviously has not gone the way Padre fans wanted it to. We were hoping for Roki Sasaki. We've gotten lawsuits so far. Just how have you been feeling about this offseason and going into the year as somebody that's always around this team, that talks about this team? Just give us your synopsis.
Look, I liked the days when we were in on every massive free agent. I know that that's not the way that it's going to be, and I resign myself to that fact. And I go back and forth a lot. Like, I can get pretty doomery at times where I'm like, oh, boy, we're going to win 60 games. Then I remember some of the players that we have, and I get excited again. And then, Roki's still out there. Mm-hmm. He seems like such a game changer for the organization if we can get him. If we don't get him, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be pretty disappointed in the offseason, really, no matter what they do. So if you get Roki, he kind of saves the offseason. If you don't, well, who else is out there that's really going to blow your hair back? I'd love to bring Jerkson Profar back. There's still a couple of names, but I really get the sense, like, if the Padres can find a way to get this guy for the next 6 years, I really think he can be a game changer with his mentality. What he's been through in his life is so inspiring and fascinating. And I don't know, man, like, of course you feel like you're going to lose one to the bully up north. But, man, if you can get one good lick in, that would make me very happy.
Does Martin Maldonado not count as a good lick?
He did not move the needle much for me today. I will say this. Statistically, he's one of the worst players in baseball. That being said,
Is that why he didn't move the needle?
that being said, I'm not counting on him for big innings next year behind the dish. I'm not. I think anytime you can bring in a guy like that on a nothing deal, his job, I'm assuming, will be to help with Luis Camposano and Ethan Salas. That's it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's why he's there. I feel like we missed out on bringing Higgy back. I really like Kyle Higashioka as a human and as a player. He had a monster year. But Martin Maldonado coming in, they're going to just basically say, you guys are going to locker next to each other, Salas and Maldonado. You, Ethan, get as much from him as you can. You, Martin, give as much as you can. And that's what happens with guys at the end of their career. They can fight for playing time, or they can realize it's time for me to give back and help the next generation. And I think that was a decent move. Doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah. And getting back to Sasaki, do you feel like the Padres' legal issues in any way hinder his thoughts of coming to San Diego?
I did initially. And then I thought to myself, why would he care? At the end of the day, like, he's going to get his checks will clear. It's not I think people here, we're all panicked. Like, this stuff happens all the time. It's happened for a bunch of organizations. It's not an ideal situation. No one's really happy about it. But I don't think it's going to mess with Roki Sasaki at all. I think, if he does take the Dodgers route, I don't blame him. I mean, how could you blame him? I mean,
I do.
I
blame him.
I mean, I get it. I get why you would. I get why you would do it, and I'm not going to be mad at the dude, but I do think he has a real chance to carve out something special here.
Yeah. And is he a bigger fan of Shohei Ohtani or Yu Darvish? Because I've heard that there's a strong connection between both, and I don't know if he's tighter or more reverent of one over the other.
You know, one thing I've learned just about reading, I mean, I know nothing about him, you know, personally or anything like that, but one thing I've learned about him reading all the articles is he really wants to be his own man. Like it's really important to him that he kind of blazes his own trail. And I think when you read that, it certainly sparks something in you where you go, oh, well, then we're the right place for that, right?
Or the Blue Jays.
Right. I mean, and honestly, like,
ain't going to Toronto.
Like we laugh, but out of those three, that may be the best spot for him. Honestly, like out of those three, it could be an interesting spot for him where he can kind of blaze his own trail. But having a guy like Yu Darvish to lean on, I mean, and Shohei as well, and Yamamoto, and it just, I think Yu is his like idol. Yu is like Elvis, you know, in Japan, and Shohei is well on his way, certainly. But I think, you know, we have as good a chance as anybody, and I would certainly love to see him in a Padres uniform. It would look really good. My wife's already said, if he comes here, we're getting a new cat named Roki Sasaki. So there you go.
Perfect. Yeah,
Nice.
there you go. So
Our fourth.
Couple felines in the house.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Sasaki
I like it.
comes to San Diego. I love that. By the way, I just have to give you your time to give a shout out for your show, Ben and Woods, when people can watch it, where they can watch it, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
Just because you've given us an amazing amount of time, so appreciate it. So go ahead and plug that for us.
Free advertising.
Free
advertising.
advertising. Nothing's for free, guys. 6 to 10 on 97.3 The Fan, home of the Padres, and you can watch us on YouTube. You just go to YouTube and search Ben and Woods and click on the live link, and you'll see us every day, and we certainly appreciate it. We have a really good time together, and I love those guys, and it's been the ride of my life. Our show kind of started when the Padres getting really interesting started, so we've just kind of held on for the ride, and it's been a blast.
I mean, as somebody we're not competitors by any means, radio and TV, but as somebody that is in the media and watches what you guys do, I mean, their show is amazing.
Thank you.
You guys do an amazing job. It's fun. I was telling Woodsy off camera, John, the best compliment I think we ever get for their shows is, hey, you guys look like you're having so much fun. We love how much fun you're having. And that's exactly what you get when you watch these guys or listen to these guys on 97.3. So definitely check them out. And what do we leave Ben Higgins with at the end of the show? Do we give him a shout out? Do we say thanks for allowing you to help us on our little streaming project?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on your little streaming project, number one. Number two, you're not going to find a better partner than Ben Higgins. He's the best, and he's changed my life immensely since I met him. And we are truly the odd couple of radio. I mean, we are the exact same age. You would never know it. Like, you would never know. And I love him and Paulie. And we have such a good time in the morning. And what you hear is genuine. Like, I genuinely love having fun with those guys in the morning. And if I'm not having fun, believe me, I'll tell you that too. So you'll always hear that from me as well.
Well, we appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
We will be back next week. Karthik Venkatraman will also be back unless Stephen Woods wants to make this a permanent mainstay. I know he loves television. He loves all of it. So
I'm so comfortable.
I'm so comfortable. I haven't been able to tell. I mean, you look like you're really thriving in this moment.
He's a natural.
But we will be back here next week. Thanks so much for joining us on CBS 8+. A big shout out to Paul Reindl and Ben Higgins and everyone over at 97.3 The Fan. And Stephen Woods, thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
My friend. Go ahead and say goodbye to everybody since
Bye,
you're
guys.
so comfortable.
Mwah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Appreciate you, brother.
See you, buddy.